A couple of weeks ago, OpenAI launched its latest iteration of ChatGPT in the form of 5.1. And it's all the rage. It's smarter, it's more conversational, and it's becoming even more adaptive because it's learning what you and I input into it, how we engage with it. In today's show, I'll be sharing some of the strengths and the weaknesses of 5.1. So, as I mentioned, they launched a couple of weeks ago, and there are two versions. There's 5.1 instant, meaning that when we prompt it, depending on the complexity or the simplicity of our request, it can then produce a really fast response, meaning an instant response. If there's more complexity to our query, then it will spend more time thinking through, meaning it's going onto the web, it's searching for information, pulling it together, and then giving us a comprehensive answer. All of this sounds great. However, as I was reading the technical document, which it refers to as its system card, OpenAI actually recognizes that 5.1 actually performs worse than version 5 when it comes to banned information, banned content, as well as this idea of emotional reliance, which I'll get to in a moment. But turning firstly to what are some of the benefits of 5.1? Well, it's faster, as I mentioned, it's adaptive, and here's where it kind of really shows itself. Depending on what it is that we prompt it with, it will decide, is this a complex or is this a simple request? And we don't have to go in and change the model. We don't have to change it from instant to thinking. It will automatically produce a result. Plus, it's better at following the instructions we give it. For example, let's say that we want our response in the form of a 5 point bullet point response. So it adapts far better than its previous iteration, number 5, in terms of following formats. We could also prompt it and say, reduce this article down to 500 words, 300 words, 50 words, and it would do it. Whereas version 5 tended to ignore those types of requests. Built within 5.1, there's a personality style, and there's up to 8 of them. So we could prompt it, we would like it to sound professional or friendly or critical or cautious or cynical, nerdy, quirky, or default. I think that's all 8. I hope so anyway. And it will then deliver the response in that style. And then there's a tonal aspect. And here they include things like, do we want to have emojis in our responses? Do we want to think about it in a way whereby it's reducing information, it's bringing more concision? That's the word I want. It's, do we want it to be concise? Do we want it to be verbose? We can decide whether we want to have jargon words in there. All of this can be decided by this model. So overall, it sounds great. Fantastic. What's not to like? However, one has to flip the other side of the coin because there is a problem that emerges within 5.1, and that's about privacy. For those of you who are concerned about privacy, you'll be thinking about, but what do I need to give up in order for me to have this personalization? And then there is privacy. So let's first deal with personalization. Within 5.1, what is happening is that it is designed in a way where it's becoming adaptive. It learns everything about us. And it does this by every prompt, every conversation that we have with 5.1, it stores it. So whether it's a medical conversation, whether it's a psychological one, whether it's an emotional one, whether it's about mental health or business, any aspect of our world that we choose to share with ChatGPT 5.1, it becomes personalized. And it becomes even more personalized because built within it, it has something called persistent memory. And this persistent memory is gathering all of the information that we share with it, and it is creating a core identity profile. So it stores every single conversation. And on the basis of that conversation, it can then start for OpenAI. What they can do is they want us to be on this because the more we are conversing with it means that we're spending longer on that platform. We're also spending longer on the internet via that platform, which means that OpenAI are in the position to know so much about us that it can package up and promote or suggest services to us. So it becomes a suggestive tool, which could be something that we are unconsciously agreeing to. And if they're not selling us services, then there's a potential for them to maybe serve up our information, our data to companies and organizations that are keen to understand and know what is it that we think, what is it that we feel. So they may be able to sell us services. Now, I'm not saying that OpenAI is behaving in nefarious ways. What I am saying is that with this core identity profile it's building up, what is it that we are prepared to trade? It's the design of the system. It's learning even more about us. And so there's a point when we are ceding our power. And this is where we step into the realm of this emotional reliance. The more we feed it means the more that it is automating us in a sense, because it can predict what we're interested in, it can suggest things for us, which means it takes away our capacity to think critically. So, who should use this new version, whether you're using the instant or the thinking version? So you have to be a pro subscriber. And if you are a pro subscriber, then you're somebody maybe who's using it all the time and you're aware of the potential trade offs that you're being invited into indirectly. It's also good. It's meant to be excellent actually for coding. So for coding, technical, complex problem solving, then, you can use it. So if you're somebody who is orientated in that direction, then maybe because you're really clear about, I don't mind giving up my privacy because I get X, Y, and Z. If you're somebody who's more cautious and concerned about privacy, maybe you want to halt using it. Maybe you want to go into the persistent memory, go into the settings, go into the persistent memory, and then turn off the persistent memory, which means that you're losing personalization, but you've got more control over your data. Now, OpenAI, they do say that all of this is encrypted, but do we trust it? That's a personal choice. But we also need to think about what happens if there's a data breach. What happens if, OpenAI, it's compromised. We already know, we have read the headlines, we know of organizations who have had data breaches and, our data becomes compromised. But also, what happens if there's a legal request for your data, my data? These are the things that we should be thinking about and making conscious choices about when we're engaging with these type of technology. Now, there's a deeper philosophical question that underpins all of this, and it's about what is AI becoming? Where is it taking us? Where is it leading us? Now, for us boomers, I'm a pro-aging boomer, and for silent generation and for Gen X's, we grew up in an era prior to AI. So we remember the big mainframe IBM computers, and then we changed to desktop. And our interactions, the computers, the technology didn't learn us. It wasn't studying us. So we would use the computer, finish using it, log off, and that was that. Then we would go back in and we would interact it. But it wasn't learning about us, our preferences, our likes, our dislikes, our thoughts, our feelings. Whereas the technology today, that's exactly what it's doing. It's learning everything about us. So, on the one hand, we've got efficiency, but on the other hand, there's an erosion of our autonomy. There's this sense of it has stripped away our ability to now interact with computers in a way whereby we can maintain our anonymity. We can show up, with no digital footprint. That no longer is the case. And that's why there's this philosophical underpinning of all of these technologies. And I'm highlighting it here because ChatGPT 5.1 instant and thinking has just been released. So, what could this mean for you? What does it mean for me? What does it mean for all of us? If you are somebody who's really concerned about privacy, go into the settings and turn off the persistent mode, whereby, it's the memory that's collecting everything, knowing that you can turn off the personalization, have more control over your data. But if you're comfortable with the exchange, the trade off, then continue using it. I'd love to hear which way are you swaying. Put your comments in the comment box below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Stay well, and I will see you again on the next show. Bye.